This game belongs to all of us. It's a way for people to come together, cheer together, and grow together, against all odds and obstacles. We don't just cheer for a team, we support each other, between whistles, games, and seasons. Few of us will ever play professionally, but everyone who laces up and puts their heart into the game knows firsthand why this is the greatest sport on earth. Today, we'll look at people who prove that hockey is for everyone, the passion they share and the hope they inspire. These are the Game Changers.
Hockey is for everyone. I think whether it's you're the greatest player ever when you're younger or you're not the best one, I think you just got to keep focusing on it and make it a dream of yours.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, what you believe in. And that's the great thing about hockey, it just brings people together.
I think hockey can help you develop lifelong friendships. I mean, I'm still friends with the guys I grew up playing with, and I still keep in touch with them today.
It's expensive. But I grew up not having a whole lot. With my family, we didn't have a whole lot money. I usually got my brother's equipment, my older brother. I never got anything new until I was 13, 14, 15 maybe.
I think the NHLPA and Ottawa Senators and the NHL are doing a lot more to make everyone feel involved and let everyone know that hockey is for everyone and the way it should be, like all sports.
You can have the worst day, or you can have the best day, but every time you get out on the ice, it's just so nice and fun.
I think inclusivity is so important. Kind of fits my personal views off the ice, and I think it ties in nicely to kind of on the ice and pertaining to the game of hockey too.
There's different opportunities throughout the city and through the Ottawa Senators to come have a try at skating, and it's important for everyone to know. You know, whether you fall under the LGBTQ, you're disabled, or you previously didn't have the means or funds to play hockey, you know, it's for everyone.
Every hockey rink is filled with 1,000 stories. Players come from all walks of life, and each of us gets something different from the game. The sport itself, like the people who play it, takes many different forms and continues to evolve into a safe, positive, and inclusive environment for all players.
Like society, sport is very gendered, and for somebody like myself who identifies as a non-binary person, it can kind of be hard to find that place where you fit in the middle. I spent pretty much all my life here playing hockey in Ottawa. I started playing when I was around 8 years old, playing in girls' leagues. The level that I was playing at often wasn't high enough for my ability just because there weren't many girls' teams in the area. And I kind of flip-flop back and forth between the girls and the boys' leagues. When I was about 17 years old, I started realizing that I was probably queer and living as a young woman at that time. There was no really coming out moment I had or anything like that. It was just, this is me, and it's always been me. I was scared that I was going to have to make a decision between men's and women's hockey. I didn't want to leave women's hockey because I didn't want to leave that community of friends. When I started a medical transition and started to look more masculine and started to play with men's groups that didn't know my gender history at all, I started to really realize the difference between the men's and the women's change rooms. It was kind of one of those first times in my life where I had to realize that, you know, it wasn't as accepted. I may not be as accepted in the change room or in, you know, society, so to speak, because unfortunately of that double standard. Even just up until a couple years ago, you would still hear derogatory things in the change room, in the men's change rooms. So while I found a lot of acceptance in women's hockey, and I mean acceptance in men's as well, there was a different kind of stress where, because there just isn't those role models. And that's really what Really what made me want to get involved with You Can Play as well was that, seeing that there really still is that need. Whereas I was very lucky not to experience it in the women's game. But in the men's game, there's still work to be done, for sure. The You Can Play project is a nonprofit charity that works to provide a safe space and inclusion for all in sport, including members of the LGBTQ community, and that's for all athletes, coaches, fans, everybody involved.
This is an organization that advocates for sexual orientation and diversity and supporting people of all kinds, regardless of what their orientation is. Every year we make sure that we partner with them to put a float in the Pride Parade in the summer, so that's something that we feel quite good about.
Or it may seem like a small thing to hide your sexuality to some people, and it may seem, well, has nothing to do with sport or anything, but if you've got that stress in the back of your mind at all times because you feel like you're not in a safe place, then you're not going to perform at your best. Because I think what I've really found, you compete at your best when you can be yourself, when you're fully yourself. I guess that's part of why I do these things and why I'm so open, is that, I want, especially in the men's side of things, to be able for people to be a little more open and not be afraid to talk about things. Sledge hockey came into my life at a time where I was starting to question my gender identity. And the great thing about sledge hockey is that men and women play together up until the provincial or national levels, and even at that, there are women that play on the men's national teams around the world.
Kat's been a player with us for quite a few years, so found sledge hockey in a different way. Had an injury at the time, so that's one of the great things that folks looking for another sport to play while they're injured, and like Kat stuck around and found the community and the folks there, and continuing playing after the injury has passed.
I had an injury to my knee from stand-up hockey that was keeping me out for a season. And sledge hockey was something that I had seen on TV and been wanting to try for a while just because it looked fun. So I signed up, and I immediately fell in love with it. Not only, it's hockey, I love hockey, I'm going to love all forms of hockey. But it was the group of people, the community, that really was unbelievable to me. Everybody from every walk of life is welcome. Any age, any gender, any ability level. It's not a gendered space, so to speak. So there was that safeness in it as well, is that, it was kind of a perfect space for me. I could be myself, I could exist in between the two genders, and I could play my favorite sport, and just found this amazing community of people that were supportive and have become some of my good friends.
The main appeal around sledge hockey is being able to play with everyone. So we have people with disabilities playing with folks without disabilities. When you come in to watch the game, you'll see that everybody to go to the rink has different ways of getting there. Some people are on a skateboard skating in because they don't have legs, or on a wheelie board, or taking off their prosthetics to get onto the ice, or leaving their wheelchair and crawling onto the ice. And then you'll notice as soon as they get strapped in and adjusted onto their sled, that everybody's on the same equal playing field. So I'd love more people to come out and try. Don't think of it as a limit, just think of it as something that you can strive for and play and have fun, and you never know where it'll lead you.
Hockey has always been more than just a sport in Canada. It plays an important role building character, fostering positive values, and developing important life skills. But no one lives up to these principles better than the players and people behind the capital city Condors.
When you're around the rink, you see fans all the time, and if you pay attention to people around you, we noticed there were a lot of young people who were fans who might be having a special need, but it dawned on us that you never really see them on the ice. playing themselves. We were down visiting my in-laws actually in Western Ontario for a weekend. My father-in-law is not a sports guy at all, but he's wearing this hockey jersey and with his name on the back and everything. And so I started kidding him. I said, "What, are you taking up hockey now?" And he goes, "No." He said, "You got to come with me on Saturday and see this." His company had been asked to help provide some ice for a number of kids with special needs to get them out and skating. So we went to the rink that Saturday. And we're captivated right away by what we saw in the kids, the smiles, you could see it right through their cages. And so it dawned on my wife and I in that moment, there's something a lot bigger than hockey going on here. Once you've seen that, then you have a decision to make. Do you pretend you didn't see it, or do you try to do something about it? And we decided it was a worthwhile thing to try to do something about it. I think the next step was trying to find out if there would even be a demographic for it in Ottawa, if there were enough kids that fit this niche. And so we had 3 families respond with their kids. So they came out and spent that week with us on the ice. At the end of that week, it was pretty neat because we didn't really know, again, well, 3, you can't really put much of a team together with 3 people. But we talked to those parents and they said, please keep this going. We'll let our networks know, we'll let our friends know, and we'll get the word out. And so by the end of the first year, we had 14 families involved, and it's kind of just grown from there. But we had so much to learn. The Capital City Condors are a family of special needs individuals, but it's a hockey family. It's the opportunity to get these folks out on the ice instead of just being fans, to have them engaged in playing the game. It's for those with physical or cognitive challenges that for whatever reason those challenges have not enabled them to play before. This is to give them that opportunity.
I just thought hockey was, I knew it was Canada's game. I knew almost every kid in the country played it. And I just thought it was pretty neat to watch. I accepted the fact that I couldn't play hockey, so I never really thought of it.
The first couple of years of Tyson's life were very touch and go. He had a lot of surgeries. He was in and out of the hospital.
He was born with what's called a cloverleaf skull. So visually we could tell there was something wrong. His pediatrician came right to the hospital, and within hours he was transferred to CHEO. And he stayed there for 3 months. Airlifted to sick kids during that time, but then back again to CHEO.
And that was our life, was going from hospital, hospital to hospital, from Toronto to Ottawa, sick kids, CHEO, doctor's appointments, and that was sort of consumed the whole first 2 or 3 years.
He does have a fragile skull. He's had multiple surgeries on his head. So that's part of the reason why for him to go on the ice, there was not a chance in the world. Like, even to go outside when it's icy out. We have to be very careful for falls.
Either Tyson or my wife found out about the Capital City Condors and what type of organization they were, and they brought it home and kind of said, asked me, "What do you think of this?" And I'm like, "Geez, hockey, are you sure? Like skates and falling and, that type of thing? It's not going to really work out."
We met a team from California, and they were asking Tyson, "Do you play hockey?" And Tyson's like, "No, there's no way, I'm not allowed to play."
He showed us a picture of the apparatus. Said it's completely safe. No one's ever fallen in it. We've had trainers test it out. It doesn't tip over.
And I guess the doctor in Toronto sat there and watched the video on it and thought about it for a minute. He said, "If they'll get one of these, I'll give you the thumbs up to let him play."
They got it set up, and it was testing out for the first time the next September.
When I first found out I was pregnant with Grace, I was a little concerned. I was a bit older, so I made sure we got lots of testing and all the usual. A geneticist came to see us. She said that Grace had an extremely rare chromosome deficiency. There isn't any other name for it other than 18q-. She had never seen that before in Ottawa. Grace was an anomaly, the only one. So we really didn't have too much information. We knew that potentially she would never walk or talk. She would potentially have some extreme health issues, learning disabilities, communication issues. Of course, I'm angry at first. I thought, well, what did I do wrong? You know, you go through all of that. You grieve for the child you thought you were going to have to the precious little thing you have now. The early years are the most difficult, of course. We find out that she's deaf, but I was hopeful that all of the progress we had made and all the therapies and that we were going to help her become, you know, I always had hope that today, that you would see the kid that you see today, for sure. Grace has always been interested in hockey. She has an older brother who played hockey and always at the rink. I coach ringette, so she's always at the arena with me with practice.
I wanted to play my brother. My brother played hockey when he was like 5 years old. And so that's what really inspired me to go out and be on an actual team.
I found out about the organization and I was like shocked because I pride myself on doing a lot, like knowing what's going on in the community for Grace. So we get there and I get her all dressed up. We're ready, gosh, like a half an hour before. And I'm like just pumping her up, like, here, you got this, and don't be afraid and just try.
It was like a dream you never knew you could even have, and it's fulfilled. He never thought he'd be able to play in any team sport, let alone hockey, like his favorite.
It was emotional. It's emotional now. It's you know, it brings tears to your eyes just to see the joy on his face, to see the joy on my wife's face, and all the people that were there helping out and bringing all this together. It's a big thing. Who would have thought that, you know, our son, with the physical disabilities he has, would ever even have a chance to play hockey?
I remember them saying that they started with like 10 kids and now we're at like the biggest special needs team in the world at 129 and counting. So yeah, it's pretty amazing what they've been able to accomplish.
And I'm seeing all these kids that are just glowing and beaming, and she's and so excited to get on the ice. So I let her go and she steps on the ice and I lose my mind and I start to cry and she's like waving and I'm like, I'm doing it, and she was doing it.
I am very, very glad that he found the Condors.
Some of the senators have stepped up and been honorary captains for the Condors. So Matt Cartner was the first one, and then Kyle Turris, and now Mark Borbietsky is. And it's so special for the kids because they get to have these Ottawa Senator players that are their buddies now.
When you start to hear a pro guy say, you know, if I don't get out to see these kids at least every other week, I don't have my reset button to what real life is about, you know. And you realize, wow, they're actually having an impact on us, maybe even as profoundly as the other way around.
You can see the energy and the excitement that those kids bring and what hockey's done for those kids in terms of their confidence and being part of the team and learning what it means to be part of a team is huge, and it's great to see our players get involved.
I can't help but smile, man. Like it's, I don't know, it's just so awesome. It's just an amazing program. There's some kids, and well, I don't want to say kids, they're adults now, but who I actually grew up and went to school with. And for me to be able to go out there and see them again and kind of rekindle those relationships, it's pretty cool. So it's really an amazing program and something that I'm really proud to be a part of.
I think the one time we skated with the Capital Condors, I think it was just amazing to see the smile on their faces, obviously.
I've never seen a happier group of kids, and it's fun to see. It doesn't have to be serious.
It's an inspiration. I think it's amazing when you jump out and do it. Nobody's going to laugh at you. Everybody fell over the first time they skated, so just put on your skates and get out and do it.
I really hope people take advantage of that, and we like to see everyone out there because hockey is for everyone.